Good morning, YouTube. This is Amorous from MMO Anthropology, and I'm bringing you back into the World of Warcraft for their winter event, the Feast of Winter's Veil holiday. I'm standing right next to Great Father Winter, who is an orc with a beard, and since last year I talked about the iconography and the way that the event was handled, I figured that this year I would talk about the collision between the Western holiday of Christmas and the winter events associated with that, and a weird little side quest that is here inside of World of Warcraft that kind of harkens to that. I mentioned it before when I was killed by the Great Greench, but this time I'm actually going to take people on that trek and talk about this interconnection. So I'll see you on the other side. So, welcome back again. We're at the Feast of Winter's Veil tree, Great Father Winter. We're going to run around Orgrimmar past one of the mounts that came from the Mist of Pandaria. Of course, the goblins who do the whole thing are right here. Interestingly enough, Great Father Winter is like a mall Santa. He's been hired by, I believe, Smoky Wood Pastures? Yep, that would be correct. Who, I guess, are goblins that make cut down trees and they sell probably horrible meat products. And they sell it in a very, very Western style sort of Christmas event. But standing over here on the other side of where the war chief happens to sit at the moment is a lonely Tauren fellow surrounded by chickens. I'm not really sure why he's surrounded by chickens, but this fellow gives you a quest. So let me turn on the UI. See, we have our quest.
Well met.
Let me pull this. I guess I can't pull it. So basically, he gives you a quest called The Reason for the Season. He complains that the goblins have taken it over, that it's been hijacked for commerce, which is a complaint about Christmas and the winter holidays in the United States, which are almost now entirely commerce holidays, with their iconography, the sale of gifts, the production of Christmas lights, and all that sort of stuff. All of these things that are now portrayed inside the World of Warcraft are now being played out in this quest chain. And from what I've understood, there are players who actually do this quest chain every year because they're amused by its particularity, or they're seeking an achievement that might go along with it. I don't know if I went into the achievements last year or not, but those are one of the primary ways that the winter event is gamified inside of World of Warcraft. You can earn a title called Merrymaker, which I'm not wearing at the moment, but let's see where this would take you. Basically, Great Father Winter, who is not the bumbling fool over there in the red suit, is actually a Titan, and this is apparently the origin of the reason for this season in the land of Azeroth. So let's accept this quest.
Me at your back.
Or not. My quest log is full, so give me just a second. I'll be right back, and then we'll continue on. Alright, so I cleared up my quest list a little bit so I could grab it, and that sends you into the Valley of Wisdom to talk to this Sigarn Creststrider, who then will grant you a book, I believe, that talks about the origin of the feast. So let's complete. Hand it in, and he says, so you're interested in the origins of the feast. It's alright to have fun and be part of the whole sales of candles, exchange of gifts, but it'd be a good idea to know where it comes from and why it comes from there. And he says, here's a book on it. He gives you the book, and he wants you to take it to the Tauren chieftain, who is right now Blaine Bloodhoof, who is out at Thunder Bluff. I should have just gotten a book. Lo, and there's a book. Basically, this tells the story of Winter's Veil and the actual legend of Grandfather Winter, who is the Santa Claus individual in this story. Except that instead of being some strange dupe put there by the goblins to wear a beard and a big red fluffy coat like modern-day Santa Claus, I believe that it turns out that he's actually more or less a winter figure who takes Azeroth through its paces, much in the same way that the winter holidays, especially those that now lie on the solstice in the United States and etc., are all about the turn of the seasons. In fact, the winter season holidays are all seasonal to pretty much Northern European concepts of the change of the seasons, the harvest, the dead of winter, and the thought that the sun will someday come back and return to us, while right now it's frozen and everything, we have to live off stocks and maybe wait for springtime to thaw it all out again. Except in the case of Azeroth, of course, there are actual deities wandering around, or actual entities who are thought to have generated the world, such as the Titans and others. So there's an inherent mythology from which this event grows. So let's head over to Thunder Bluff in just a moment, and we'll complete this quest by turning it in. I'll see you there. Well, here we are floating out of Orgrimmar towards Thunder Bluff. I decided I would take a slow blimp off to Thunder Bluff and speak to everyone about the current nature of the holidays in the Northern Hemisphere, especially North America and Europe. One of the interesting dichotomies that we see, especially with the reason for the season concept here in Orgrimmar, or excuse me, in World of Warcraft, is that across the United States, or even with the Northern Hemisphere, there isn't actually a reason for the season when it comes to winter holidays. They are actually a conglomeration of multiple histories and several different traditions all come together into what is more or less likely a mainstream commerce holiday that is provided for, buttressed by, and delivered by media, marketing, and the ability for us to put our own conceptions onto it. The original following these days are, as I said earlier, are primarily focused around a seasonal event, the winter solstice. And there's a collection of other holidays that we stick near the winter solstice. For example, one of the primary ones, the ones that gets primacy in the United States, would be Christ's Mass, which is the Christian holiday within this season. Immediately next to that is Hanukkah, which is a multi-day celebration about the same time. Then you have a celebration that goes almost the entire season, which would be the pagan Yule celebration. And we can even look at some of the iconography, like Christmas trees and decking things out with colors and lights, and all the pageantry that come with it, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Santa Claus image, the Grinch that stole Christmas. Then we have, on top of that, we have the Yule tree, like the Christmas tree, the conifer, which, interestingly enough, also comes from a German tradition of the Yule log, which in the middle of the dead of winter, they take out their stores of food, they would chop down a large tree, and depending on how large your clan or family happened to be, throw this on the fire and light it on fire, and then everyone would have a midwinter feast until finally that log was entirely consumed. And the feast and the party didn't end until that log was vaporized. This, of course, compels some of the modern-day Yule celebrations where bonfires are set on the winter solstice day and people party all night. One of the more interesting icons that I think comes along with the winter holiday, aside from Santa Claus and reindeer and etc., is that of snow. Even places like Hawaii, which are a part of the United States, but have people who will probably never see snow, still bring the concept of snow along with them in their winter displays, or excuse me, their Christmas celebration displays, their feast and their etc. and their pageantry, still spray things with icicles or with warm garments or etc. But they live in a region of the world that isn't going to get cold, and it's certainly not going to snow for them. So the idea of bringing snow along with as a component of the holiday of Christmas, of the winter holidays, is a reflection of its origins as a seasonal central to the winter solstice. So there isn't a central figure here either. Even Santa Claus is a component which was taken from a whole other culture and adhered onto the holiday. And the gift-giving element itself is just another representation of the pageantry, the feasting, and the partying in the holiday. Alright, so I'm going to go run off right now and see Blaine, and we'll finish up this quest. I'll see you there, guys. Alright, so here we are on the Spirit Rise of Thunder Bluff, and there's lots of people, as you can see, coming to visit Blaine, which suggests that the population of many servers are still interested in running this quest. Talking to him and turning it in and
Never
discovering
despair,
the origin
The
of...
eyes of the Earth Mother are upon us.
Thank you, Blaine. Discovering the origin of Azeroth's version of the winter holidays, of their Christmas, Hanukkah, Yule, etc., which appears to be yet another example or exemplar of the winter months of midwinter, but with a particular deity who probably actually walked. I salute your wisdom. Why, thank you.
Hello, Orha.
Yeah, that's a quest I don't need. So we'll finish this off right next to their horde version of the Christmas tree. And this
Please, friend.
elder who's standing right in front of it. I think he normally stares at that fire right there. All these lovely gifts and presents around it. Skulls hanging from the tree. I'm going to sign off here. Thank you for coming along into World of Warcraft to look at the Winter's Veil event and this side quest for the Horde. Now, I believe the Alliance also have a side quest that sends them to talk to the dwarves, but I might do that next year instead because I primarily do the Horde. And there's numerous other things connected to this, but you can watch my previous video on the same event to look at some of the achievements and where I discuss where a lot of the icons and the images come from into the game. Meanwhile, thank you everyone for coming along. Good night and good dreams. I don't know if you noticed it, but the Horde version of the Christmas tree has a skull on it instead of a star, which is more common. Anyway, if you like this video, hopefully I've earned your like, and if you've had fun with the Christmas event in World of Warcraft, I hope that you leave a comment about it below. I'll be looking at more winter events as time goes on, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, or certainly an abominable Grinch will steal your Christmas.